What's up guys, my name is Fran and once again, welcome back. And also welcome back to me as well. I know it's been quite some time since I've done a video and that's primarily because I was a little bit sick, then I went up to PAX and I was still sick and we had this crazy snowstorm in the Northeast. But I'm back, I'm feeling better and here to bring you guys some more awesome content. Now speaking of awesome content, today's review is actually going to be on an awesome piece of hardware. This is my review on the AMD Ryzen 7 1800X. In the last couple of years, Intel's had a complete hold on the laptop and desktop market. Now with AMD having a similar hold on the gaming console market when it comes to their APUs, it seems like they started to long after that same sort of market share when it comes to desktop and laptop hardware. So with AMD's last generation CPU architecture pretty much being a complete failure, this caused them to go back to the old drawing board and completely rebuild it from the ground up. This sparked the birth of Zen, or rather Ryzen. So pretty similar to Intel's i3, i5, and i7 lineup, AMD comes in their own flavor of Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5, and Ryzen 7 with a couple more SKUs in between each flavor. So at the time of recording this video, only the highest end SKU, that being the Ryzen 7 lineup, has actually been released to the public. That being the Ryzen 1700, 1700X, and the Ryzen 1800X. Now with this right off the presses, Ryzen 5 does have a release date being slated for April 11. But in this video, we're going to be focusing on the highest end SKU, and that is the Ryzen 1800X. Now the Ryzen 1800X is sporting 8 cores, 16 threads, with a base clock of 3.6 GHz and a boost clock of about 3.9 GHz. All of this with only a 95 watt TDP. Now with a $499 price tag, AMD's marketing team is boasting that the 1800X can actually go blow for blow with the comparable Intel model that actually costs double that at about $1,050. This being the 6900K, which also sports 8 cores and 16 threads. So in this video, what I'll be doing is actually pitting up the 1800X against some other comparable Intel processors. Now while I don't own the 6900K, I do own the 6850K. Now while I know it's 6 cores versus 8 cores, I do think this is a better comparison considering they're more similarly priced at around $500. Now into all of this testing, I will be throwing in my trusty old i7 7700K. Now this processor has a higher base and boost clock than the other two processors, but it also has less cores at only 4 cores and 8 threads. But I do think throwing in the 7700K is actually a good argument for cores versus clocks, which one is superior. Now all three of these computers will be overclocked to their highest potential based on my silicone lottery picks. I also will be doing all of my testing at 1080p, and every single one of the GPUs will be running a GTX Founders Edition 1080. Now I chose the 1080p resolution because the GTX 1080 can pretty much eat anything in ultra settings at that resolution. That way we can put the bottleneck on the CPU instead of the GPU. So with all of that out of the way, let's have a look at some of the benchmarking numbers. So as we can tell from some of these numbers, when it comes to content creation tasks and productivity, the 1800X is absolutely killing it. Now having a look at some of the more gaming related tasks, while the 1800X isn't the highest number up there, it definitely does hold its own. Okay, so I've had a look at some of the numbers, and here are just some of my thoughts. So the Ryzen 7 1800X is a great all-around processor. When it comes to productivity tasks, as well as content creation, it is an absolute beast. Now it does fall short a little bit when it comes to the whole gaming department, but I think that's okay. I think if you're more of a casual or even a hardcore gamer, the CPU is going to be plenty. But yeah, if you're an esports guy or maybe even competitive, you're probably going to want to squeeze every single frame you can possibly get out of your CPU, so I definitely probably would then still stick with the i7 7700K. But there's also something else to keep in mind. Let's remember folks, we're only in the second week of Ryzen's launch. We haven't even seen software developers really optimize software for the platform. And I think this is really where we're going to see its potential and really see AMD Ryzen shine. But AMD really likes to talk about its fine wine technology. And historically, when it comes to its GPUs, they definitely do get better over time. And I'm hoping this is the exact same case when it comes to AMD Ryzen. But in all honesty, it really doesn't matter whether if you're on Intel and you're on Team Blue, or if you're on AMD and Team Red. The real winner here is going to be you and me as the customer, because competition breeds innovation. Okay, so to wrap this all up, the AMD 1800X is a great multi-purpose all-around CPU. I'm happy that there's actually a flagship CPU I can afford this time around. The AMD Ryzen lineup is a great lineup with some pretty exciting features that are going to be coming in the near future. AMD is back better than ever, and there is balance in the force. And if you can't tell, I'm really excited. So if you guys like this video and you want to see more like it, do me a favor, slam on that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Once again, my name is Fran. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.